Okay, Keith, I've got a couple of little demonstration videos here to show you of the retracts that you sent to me. These are the CJM 5th scale retracts, the 3-gear set that you sent. And this is the new controller. This is the correct controller for the 5th scale. As we discussed on the phone, the one that you had was for the smaller Centurions, and they just that controller is just not heavy enough for these 5th scale motors. These motors have a lot of torque, they pull a lot of current, and the controller just needs to be bigger to handle it. Here's my 2-cell battery and my servo tester that I'm using to cycle them up and down, and I just wanted to let you see that the controller is working okay now, and that the gear motors are not they're not jamming anymore. And I've got another couple of things I'll show you after I get through with this video. But of course, we're in the down position now. We're going to rotate the servo tester, and you'll see they all three come to the up position. Those motors have got so much torque they make those things jerk. And we go back down again. And back up. I'll show you a little something that I did to these that I think will help a lot. These 5th scale mechanisms by CJM, you'll see that there is a brass slider. Get focused here. Find my finger in the picture here. You see that little brass slider right there? That slides back and forth, and of course is an important part of the way the mechanism works. But if the mechanism is such that the slider comes to a hard stop against either end of that slot, then the effect that it has is to tighten that slider like a nut onto that threaded shaft. And that makes it very difficult then for the motor to break it loose when you start going the other direction. So the solution that I have found that works the best on those is, you'll notice that on this particular one, I have, let me crank the exposure up a little bit. You'll see on the bar there in the back, that's an aluminum bar just like the one on the bottom there. But what I've done on that top bar is I've covered that in a couple of pieces of heat shrink. And what that does is that causes the mechanism, this part of the mechanism here, to strike that bar and stall the gear out before that slider actually slams up against the edge. And that will make all the difference in the world. I'll show you what I'm talking about. When the gear come down again, you'll notice that part of the mechanism, when it hits that bar, it stops it, and it stops it before that slider has had a chance to bind itself to the side plate. Let's go the other way, and you'll see that the same thing happens. The lower part strikes that bar and shuts it off before that slider has had a chance to tighten itself onto the mechanism. The mechanism still locks just as it normally would, and it comes all the way down. It only makes a few thousandths of an inch difference. You see, you're still getting a good 90-degree rotation on the gear, but that little bit of padding and that extra few thousandths of an inch makes all the difference in the world in how those retracts cycle. They just won't bind with that in place the way they do if that's not there. See if I can keep my camera in focus here. One more up and down just so you can see that they're working flawlessly. And back up again. Get them ready to pack up and send to you. I'm going to make a video of your 2-gear set here in a minute and send to you, and then we'll get this all boxed up and headed your way. Thanks, Keith.